All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. A double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. This video today is going to be hold on a second. What the hell? Okay, I thought my window shut again on me, but it's still here. So this video is going to be touching on Revelation chapter 13 verses 16 and 17, and we're going to be speaking about the mark of the beast, or the MotB, which we tell you that it is the RFID micro C hip. Okay, you have to put that together, the letter C and the word hip. I'm pretty sure you know what it is if I put micro in front of it. Okay, so we're going to read these verses, and then we're going to ask a question, or to Google AI, to get some responses and see what's going on with the world as far as this prophecy is concerned. So let's go there first and get the prophecy. All right, and these prophecies are happening quickly. There's not that many major ones left. There's the MotB, the famine of the hearing of the word. All right, which is important to get, which points again at the importance of getting this truth now while you still can. Okay, let's start here. Isaiah 55 and 6. Let's start there first. All right, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Does that mean that the Lord is going to go away and not be around? No, that's just saying that you need to get to know him while the point in time that we know as too late. All right, there's a such thing as too late. Before that comes, all right, it's best you seek him now, especially if you say that you love him. Okay, it's good to get to know someone that you love, right? So pray that the Lord allows you or deems you worthy enough to get to know him. Okay, so again, Isaiah 55 and 6, seek the Lord while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. All right, how are you going to call upon the Lord? If you call on Jesus, the Lord isn't hearing you, man. All right, if you just call on God, the Lord isn't hearing you. Okay, they have names. The name of the Almighty is Yahweh. Yah meaning he, Howah means is, he is, or he to be, or he exists. And his son, okay, his name is Yahweh Shai. Again, Yah meaning he, Howah Shai meaning saves or delivers. Okay, and the only way you can get to the Father is through the Son. All right, it's important to know both of those names. And there really isn't anything to add to that. It's just very important. All right, that's the beginning. Okay. Man, screen keep timing out very quickly. Anyway, so yeah, Isaiah 55 and 6, man, you have to keep that in mind. Okay. So now let's go back here to Revelation 13 and verse 16 and 17. All right, so Revelation 13 verses 16 and 17, it reads, and he causeth all. And there's a note in this Bible, all right, for the word he. Down here, the note, I just want to read this because I haven't yet in here. Number 3, it says Antichrist. Now, if you have any kind of foundation, you will know that There are many antichrists. While the world is waiting on one person, okay, a singular person to come out and just announce himself as an antichrist, and that's him, and that, all right, that's not what's going on, and that's disarming you. All right, if you look in the mirror, you might find that you are walking in an antichrist spirit. For the most part, the world is. We came out of walking in an antichrist type spirit. That word means anti, against, Messiah. Okay, the Yahweh Shai, the Messiah, the Hamashiach. So against the anointed. Okay, so you may be walking um, in the path of an antichrist. This is why the Lord tells you to examine yourself. Okay, examine yourself. All right, so it says antichrist, the person, which we know it's persons, but in this case, okay, we are speaking about Esau, Edom, the self-called and so-called white man. Again, we've always touched on this. Does this mean that if you are or look like a so-called white man that you are an Edomite? No. Okay, Israel is scattered amongst all nations. Esau is scattered amongst all nations. Okay, all nations are mingled and scattered everywhere. Okay, but you have to be able to understand prophecy to know why we say Esau, Edom is the so-called white man. Okay, the Lord has to give you the spiritual power to not only listen, but to understand this word. All right. As a matter of fact, man, makes me think of another scripture really quick here. Hold on. Man, excuse me. All right, this is John chapter 8. John chapter 8. Excuse me for going too far off. Okay, so John chapter 8. Red letter. Okay. Let's start at 42. Okay. Yahweh said unto them, if Yahweh were your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from Yahweh. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. That destroys the doctrine that the Son is God or the Almighty God. All right, they're two different entities with the same of the same mind. All right. Yahweh spoke exactly, or what he spoke is exactly in agreement to Yahweh. There are two separate beings, though. Okay, but on one accord, just as we are on one accord. Okay, with Yahweh and Yahweh. Anyway, John 8 and 42 again. Yahweh said unto them, if Yahweh were your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from Yahweh. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Verses 43 and 44 now. Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word. Again, this is spiritual power to be able to not only hear it, okay, but hear it in the meaning of that word totally, okay, to understand, to perceive what is being said to you. Verse 44 says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Now he is speaking to Israelites. So he is telling them that, all right, these people that are contrary to me are your father, because that's how you act. Okay? All right? Not that they are literally the father or the children of the devil, but because they act accordingly to the opposer's word, okay, they act as if they are children of the devil. Okay, they take heed to the words, the philosophies, the beliefs of the devil. Okay, but again, listening, understanding, comprehending, all right, is spiritual power when it comes to the Lord's word. Okay, so let me go back down here to this note. It says, Antichrist, the person, is to be distinguished from the many antichrists. All right, no. Well, yeah, there are many antichrists. Anybody can walk, and everyone has walked contrary to the Lord. All right, but the antichrist is not just one person; it is a people. All right, the Esau, Edom. All right, and in the case of Revelation 13, verse 16, all right, that he that causeth all, yes, are Edomites, but it is specifically the top banking families. The top banking families. Okay. All right. And most of the world, they have most of the world in the spirit of Antichrist, or in the spirit of walking against the Messiah. Okay. Walking against the anointed, walking against Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. So let's go back here to Revelation 13 and 16. It reads, And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That word causeth all goes back to the Greek word poieo, which means, down in the definition, you'll find it says to make ready, and so at the same time to institute. Okay? They cause a problem that garners certain reactions, and then they get to present their solution. And this is what we're going to be reading about here while we are speaking about this prophecy that is going to take place. Okay, the technology is already in the earth, but the difference is that causeth all right, the making mandatory of this MotB. All right, and this is what we're going to be reading a little bit about. Let me go ahead and get 17 so that if or when it comes up while we're reading, all right, you'll be able to understand that it too has to do with prophecy. It reads, And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you will not be able to participate in society the way that you know it without having this mark of the beast. All right, you're not going to be able to acquire the things needed for life. All right, food on the table, a roof over your head, and clothing on your back. Okay, the necessities of life. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some of this reading done now. So what I asked Google AI is, and this is kind of a long input, but I'm gonna read it all and then we'll get to the reading. All right. So or then we'll get to reading after I read all of this, or the response. So what I put in here today is, during the week of the 15th of February 2026, what were some significant advancements in businesses such as Walletmore, Neuralink, Synchron, Paradromics, Precision Neuroscience? Let me make sure I pause, separate these so that you don't think it's just one name. So again, during the week of the 15th of February 2026, what were some significant advancements in businesses such as Walletmore, Neuralink, Synchron, that's SYNCHRON, Paradromics, Precision Neuroscience, BlackRock Neurotech, and other brain-to-brain communication technologies? Also, explain how developing worldwide governmental laws and policies could use these advancements in pushing for total compliance if a microchip implant is made mandatory. Now, I put that if in there, not because I question this prophecy coming to pass, but because sometimes you have to ask these questions in a rhetorical sense. All right, because they'll go straight to defending. All right, which should also be a clue on what's going on here. Okay, so it says this is a hypothetical question, but use only facts to answer and be direct in the reply, using the simplest of words so that one may easily understand. All right, that's what I put in here. So let's look at the responses now. It reads, in early 2026, the brain computer interface, or BCI, industry reached a major turning point, moving from experimental lab settings into high volume clinical trials and commercial preparation. Major companies like Neuralink and Synchron demonstrated stable, long-term results in human patients, while global competition intensified, particularly from Chinese firms like NeuroZes. All right, it's Neuro, capital XESS, and even with that capital in there, X, even with that capital X in there, it looks like one word. Now, before we read on, I named a bunch of companies and manufacturers in the question. But what I do want to also point out is that these names, the people around this technology, right, all of those names can be changed. Okay, you can probably add many companies to those names. Okay, the point is, it's okay to note those names. All right, but what you are to focus on is the technology. Okay, the technology. Also, when we get down to reading some of this, it's going to point out some policies that are being pushed in other places outside of America, but also here in America, which is AKA Babylon the Great, or BKA Babylon the Great to us, but AKA to me, okay, the future site of the lake of fire, okay, which is speaking about America, okay. So again, pay attention to what you need to pay attention to. All right, the technology and the policies that are going to push this technology moving forward. You also have to take note that there are policies that they put out in the open, and then there are lesser known policies that they keep secret. These people are slick. All right, they are slick. I really wanted to go. Well, I will go. Let me I asked this before, and I used it as a title art for one of my videos, but I can't remember which one. But let's go ahead and ask this: what does it mean, or what is meant by? Hold on. What is meant by uh what is meant when someone thinks they are slick? We'll put it that way. All right. What is it meant by when someone thinks they are slick? And this is what Esau thinks. He thinks he's slick, man. As far as the men of the Lord are concerned, you are not slick, man. The Lord then pointed out your ways, and we see you. So, when someone thinks they are slick, it typically means they believe they are successfully being clever, sneaky, or deceptive without others noticing. Depending on the situation, the term can range from a lighthearted observation of someone's smooth social skills to a sharp criticism of their untrustworthiness. So let's read this really quick, then we'll get back. All right, core meanings: deceptive or sneaky. The most common usage implies the person is trying to get away with something, like a lie, a prank, or a slick move to avoid work and believes their actions are hidden. In a more positive or neutral sense, and we're not going to talk about this because we're not talking about a positive sense when it comes to Esau Edom. All right, superficial or insincere says often used for salespeople or politicians. It suggests someone is persuasive and charming but lacks depth or honesty. They look good on the surface, but you shouldn't necessarily trust them. And we always will, for the most part, recently, all right, especially we've been going over Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so does his wickedness. Okay, it's always there. Okay, common context. Let me see. All right, yeah, I think we got enough there. Let's go back to the reading now, all right? Okay, significant advancements in February 2026. The week of February 15th to 22nd, 2026 saw several critical updates in the neurotech field. All right, Neuralink high volume production. In early 2026, Elon Musk announced plans for high volume production of Neuralink brain chips. The company aimed to scale up to 20,000 surgeries a year by making the implantation process almost entirely automated through surgical robots. Now, hold on. I know we started back reading, but since we already pointed out these people think they're slick, let me first things first here. Let me get to you probably already know where I'm going. All right, this fair use statement. Not that Esau is known for holding his or keeping to his word, but let me read this anyway. Copyright disclaimer, all right, for a testimony against you, Esau, before you rip this video down. If you rip it down, I don't know. This applies for all the videos on this channel, okay? Every single one. All right, and all the brothers' channels. Now, I'll just speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure it applies for them too, all right? Fair use disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. Also, I want to remind you, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, okay? All we're doing is reading what's going on in the world, period. All right, so hold on, where was I? All right, I know let me see, hold on. Okay, back to speaking about Neuralink. It says the company aimed to scale up to 20,000 surgeries a year by making the implantation process almost entirely automated through surgical robots. Now, China's rapid commercialization. It says by February 22, 2026, reports highlighted that China's BCI industry was sprinting toward commercial use. Startups such as Neurozex or Brain Co. and Gestala, which is Gestala, accelerated clinical trials fueled by aggressive government backing and streamlined regulatory pathways that allowed them to challenge Western leaders. As far as Synchron, it says Synchron's long-term stability. Synchron Stentrode device, which is inserted through a blood vessel rather than open brain surgery, completed a major trial where patients showed stable motor control over 12 months. This positioned the company's this positioned the company as a top contender for full FDA clearance by late 2026. On February 20th, 2026, Science Corporation, funded by Neuralink co-founder Max Hodak and Neurosoft Bioelectronics, announced a partnership. They aim to combine Neurosoft's UltraSoft interfaces with Science's clinical recording tools to create a foundational AI model of the brain. On February 18th, 2026, Zifra, which is Zyphra. On February 18th, 2026, Zifra released Zuna, Zuna, all caps. All right, it says an open source BCI foundation model. This software is designed to decode human thoughts into text more accurately than previous industry standards, providing a base for future thought-to-text technologies. All right, the hypothetical use of advancements for total compliance. All right, it says in a hypothetical scenario where micro C-hip implants are made mandatory, governments could use these specific technological advancements to enforce compliance through several mechanisms. Automated scalability. The transition to automated surgical procedures, as pioneered by Neuralink, would be essential for a mandatory rollout. This technology allows for rapid, standardized implantation all right, across large populations without requiring thousands of highly trained neurosurgeons. All right, non-invasive and minimally invasive methods. It says technologies like Synchron Stentrode, implanted via blood cells, or the emerging ultrasound-based BCIs, which require no surgery, would lower the barrier for mandatory adoption by making the process less physically intimidating and reducing medical risks like infection. It says the development of BCI foundation models like Zuna and full stack ecosystems like the Science BCI ecosystem could allow governments to create a universal platform. This would ensure that every mandatory CHIP uses the same digital language, making it easier to monitor or manage compliance on a national or worldwide scale. While currently, they always go to defending this stuff. While currently false for 2026, hypothetical policies could link mandatory implants to essential services. Reports have already noted fake claims that digital ID implants would be required for banking or healthcare. In a mandatory scenario, advancements in readout BCIs, which decode thoughts or states, could be used to verify a person's identity or status before granting access to these ecosystems. I'm surprised they're not calling these conspiracy theories anymore. Why is that? All right, a lot of these conspiracy theories ended up proving true. Okay, they'll deny it until the ones who did not believe the conspiracy theory are taken by surprise, and it's too late now. Okay. Anyway, we did ask it for a hypothetical scenario to get it to answer without putting up too much argument. All right. As we stated earlier, chew the meat, spit out the bones. Okay. You understand what's being said here, Lord willing. So now it's talking about existing legal protections against mandatory implants. It's going to always defend against this. As of February 2026, many governments are actually passing laws to prevent mandatory micro-C-hipping rather than encourage it. Preemptive bans. It says at least 13 U.S. states, including Washington, Montana, and Mississippi, have passed or proposed laws that prohibit employers or state agencies from requiring or coercing individuals to receive micro-C-hip implants. And we're going to, down further in the reading, all right, we're going to address that again, all right? So keep that in mind, the preemptive bans. So it says neural data privacy. It says states like Colorado and Minnesota have introduced legislation specifically to protect neural data, treating brain signals with the same high level of privacy as fingerprints or DNA. All right, so hold on a quick second. Let me check this time. Man, that time went by pretty quickly, but I am going to cut this here and then come back and do another part, just so all of this is on shorter videos. That way you can click on one and then don't feel like you have to put an hour into watching. Although, all right, you have to get used to long versions of videos. There's more information, man. All right, but I'm gonna cut this right here, and then we'll come back with part 2, and we're gonna pick right up. No intro, okay? No intro. So again, we ended this with them asking, would you like me to find more details on specific laws being passed in different countries to protect people from mandatory implants? So we'll pick back up with the answer or what I plugged in after this reply. All right. So with that, I hope this came through as sincere and edifying. And all praise to Yahweh, in the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.